Okay. So first and foremost, we just want to thank you. Thank you for taking the time to be your service unit nut manager this year or assist your service unit with the 2021 Fall Magazine and Nut Program. We really appreciate you. We had another great year. And again, Gail, myself, Angela, we couldn't have done it without your support and without your help bringing this program to the leaders in your service unit. So we do want to thank you, and you will get a little thank you gift from us when we mail out the rest of the rewards, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So just a quick program at a glance. This is the 2021 program. We had 1,992 girls participate, which for the first time in many years, we had an increase. So you'll see on the side, we had an extra 66 girls participate. So very exciting. We had 439 troops participate. Again, this was another increase from last year, 18 additional troops. And then our troop proceeds overall, this was the money that goes back to the individual troop bank accounts, was $86,467.76. So that was 11,000 plus increase from last year. The average item sold, the PGA per girl, was 30.61. So that went up almost a whole item. Last year it was 29 and point change, and this year it was 30. So the girls were selling a little bit more. We had 1,892 avatars created. These are the girl avatars, which was an increase of 232. So we think the girls really enjoyed that piece of getting to create their own avatar that looks just like them. And we also, out of all of the girls, they shared 33,366 emails. So that went up almost 6,000 more from last year. So with the food bank, if you remember, we added the Mercer Street Friends in Ewing. So we donated 3,048 nut cans that was split equally between the Community Food Bank of New Jersey in Egg Harbor and the Mercer Street Friends. It was a little down this year, but that, if you remember, the price did go from 6 to 7. So that could have been a little bit of the decrease, but it really wasn't down that much. And we're super excited to work with both of those organizations that get those products and then get to give them out in their food banks. So they're very appreciative of us and the girls who do this on their behalf. And if you have any questions, please put it in the chat room and we'll get to those later on tonight. So just some program highlights. Again, really, an excellent year. Just alone, the fact that we have more girls and more troops participating is a huge highlight for us. This has been a program that has been slowly decreasing year over year. So it's nice to see girls and troops coming back and enjoying the program. Our PGA increased 11.35%. Total sales overall increased 15%. All of the sales categories increased over 2020. And our sales, our council, one out of 111 councils out of all of the Girl Scout councils nationwide, our sales increase was approximately 50% above the average of all councils nationally. So last year we had the highest sales increase out of all of the councils. And then this year, again, we're still kind of up there with 50% above average. So really exciting. Our sale is small but mighty. We have, just under 2,000 girls participating, but those girls love it. They sell to their family and friends, and they enjoy the rewards. The troops got that really great early troop proceeds. So, I'm really proud of this program and how far it's come in the past few years. So just to touch base on that fall, the digital extension that we did that was new this year. If you remember, from October 24th to November 6th, girls could continue to share their online sales link to their family and friends. So that was online sales only, direct ship, the customer paid for shipping. And I'm still trying to see if I can get some more nitty-gritty numbers down, but Money wise, online magazines, we had $15,906.50 in extra sales during that 2-week period, which is huge because our magazine sales also have been steadily declining. And our online direct ship nuts, that was $28,981 in extra sales. So that extra 2-week period, we know we had some late troops and girls join and participate. So they were thankful to have that extra opportunity. Because if you remember, traditionally our program ended around the 24th. So just to give you an idea, that 2 weeks was an actually pretty powerful, 2-week extension. Here are our 2021 top selling service units. A few of them were the same from last year, but we had some new ones jump in there. It shows the number of girls selling, the number of troops selling. So this is top selling by sales, and also their PGA, so which is the amount of items divided by the amount of girls selling. So Majasvi is holding at the #1 spot for the past few years. East Brunswick, Woodbridge, Timber Creek, Northern Burlington, Fort Berry Woods, 5-Star, Allentown, Robbinsville, Marlton, and Echo Woods. So great job, especially some of the smaller ones that bumped in this year. Their girls increased a lot, and we're just excited to see that they were excited about the program. And here are our 2021 top sellers. Josephina in Majasvi has been our top seller the past few years, and she held tight again this year with 396 items sold. All of the girls, all of their parents have been notified that they're the top 10 sellers. They'll be part of our Elite Entrepreneur Club and also get a day at the Adventure Aquarium. So Gail has been in touch with all of them. So anything that has to do with that, you don't have to worry about giving them, but just to see, we had 2 sisters in service unit 512, Isabella and Scarlett. We had, let's see, I'm drawing blanks on some of the names. Amanda in the 2nd spot. She's been up there the past few years as well. She's, one of our very goal-oriented sellers. Sophia, Gabrielle, Charlie, Isabella, Scarlett, Kinley, Savannah, and Laurel. So if one of these girls are in your service units, please make sure to share it with your leaders and let them know what an awesome job they did. Just making sure nothing's like that. Okay, the personalized patch. So this year we switched the requirements from 15 emails to 18 emails. And we kept it at 200 in sales, and we had an increase. 1,778 girls earned that patch versus 995 in 2020. All of those patches they come separately. You don't have to worry about getting them. So if you have a girl who reached out and said, oh, I haven't gotten it yet, you can please have them, reach out to us at council. They can contact customer care. They'll create a case, and we can look into it with the M2. Okay. Our volunteer patch. So this was for the troop leaders, and what was new this year was that they had to activate the parent guardian email blast, have 750 in troop sales, which was the same as last year. So 261 volunteers, troop volunteers earned it versus 277 last year. So it's only a little bit less. I know we had some questions about the parent guardian email blast, and that could have been the bigger, change in that. So we'll see how that goes. But also, I think troops really enjoyed getting that email from their troop leader. Contest winners. Okay, so we had three contests going this year. 2 of the contests were for girls to win a giant 4-foot penguin, and those 2 girls were Piper B from Service Unit 304 and Sophia H from Service Unit 816. Both of those parents have been notified to let them know that there are winners, and those are ready for pickup. And then here were our 5 troops who had to submit a troop avatar picture, and they were randomly selected to win a cookie booth sale kit. They've also been notified that they're winners, and I was waiting on 1 or 2 items that were back ordered. So now they've finally come in. So I will be reaching out to them to let them know that their booth sale kits will be ready for pickup next week at the service centers. But again, they have all been notified as well. So if any of these troops are in your service units, again, please feel free to share, because people do reach out to us and ask, you know, who's won. And we did post these on our social media a few weeks back, but definitely share, so because people want to know. And I just saw something in the chat. I received a volunteer patch. I did reach out to M2 regarding for the wrong patch. Yeah, so you can reach out to M2, their customer care. You can reach out to us if anybody comes to you and says, I didn't get my patch yet. It was a wrong patch, you know, definitely feel free to reach out to us or directly to M2. They're very good at taking care of it and getting it triggered to either have the girl do it or sending it out. Okay, care to share. Again, we briefly talked about that. It was down a little bit in items, but we did donate 348 items to both the New Jersey Community Food Bank and the Mercer Street Friends. And 305 girls earned the Care to Share patch, and that was by having 5 or more donations. So great job to those girls who took part. Okay, so before we open it up for any type of feedback, I just want to give you a couple items for wrap up for you to share with your troops. ACH refunds will be processed around Friday, December 17th. 259 troops are getting a refund, so super exciting. But to remember that only troops who have a bank account will get their refunds. Missy Branch has been working there was a couple stragglers who were either new or had kind of fallen through the cracks, but Missy is working with all of them to get their bank accounts and get going. But also just let them know that it does take a few days depending on the bank. It is quicker if it's a TD bank account, if the troop has a TD bank account. But if it's a troop bank account that's from a different bank, you know, it could take a couple of days for them to see that refund hit their account. So sometimes when we say, okay, it's December 17th and I didn't get it today, they may not get it until early the following week. But we'll email everybody as well. I'll shoot you all an email and let you know once it's been, you know, sent over to the bank for processing. Also, I did let you all know that there were a few rewards that were separate from M2 items that were coming to you. These were specially ordered items. So it's the tie-dye bag, the penguin earbuds, the trophies. So we have everything but the penguin earbuds. They are stuck at port. So as soon as we get those, we will be packing them up. With that package, we'll have a little thank you for you, you know, for being a service unit net manager and for all that you've done. So it's our little way of giving you a little thank you. We'll let you know when those are ready for pickup. Also, I did hear from M2, we were hoping to get our major rewards shipped out to you by next week. M2 is currently experiencing delays, much along with many other businesses and organizations. Some of the items are stuck at port. They haven't gotten in yet. So to be the most cost effective and organized, they're waiting for everything to come in before they ship them out to you. So as soon as they get them, they will keep me posted. You will also get email if you're the person receiving the rewards. It's listed in M2. You'll get an email that the rewards are coming with the tracking information. So you will get a heads up once they come. Hopefully, you know, it will be sooner, you know, before the holidays, but unfortunately we're in a weird time with everything that's going on with shipping. And if you've seen the news, the things that have come in from overseas, they're stuck on ships and on dock, and they haven't gone through customs. So there's a lot of things that are just out of our hands right now, that we just kind of have to sit back and be patient, and wait for, and hopefully they'll be here sooner rather than later. But we'll definitely keep you posted on those reward items. Can you change a shipping address for rewards? Jessica, I will have to look into that possibly, because it hasn't gone out yet. But again, they've started staging things and printing things. So I will have to just make sure first that we can do that before I commit to anything. Anything that comes from council, like the other thing, the tie-dye, the penguin earbuds, the trophies, like that, we can, when we email you out about that, we can do, but I just have to confirm that with M2 first. Okay. So let's see, chat. Just want to look in before we open this up. Okay, and Gail's making a note of that to reach out to our contact person. Thank you, Gail.
No other questions yet?
Yeah, I just saw, okay, something came through. So that looked like there was an issue with delivery. Okay. Oh, okay. I got it. Thing. So we can kind of open that up and talk about that. Okay. So what we at this point, what we like to do is just hear some feedback from you on some of the key aspects of our program. So if you kind of look at it, you know, we have our troop training and materials distribution that kind of happens in, we do our training in August with you, then you do training and you distribute the materials to your troops. You also get them from us. The M2 system, product deliveries, and then, you know, any suggestions for next year or feedback from troops that you want to share with us. And again, this is why Doug and Todd is on, Gail and myself. We take notes because, you know, right after the cookie program ends, as we're still wrapping that up, Gail and I shift focus, and then we begin planning for next year. So, and we'd love to hear feedback. We'd love to hear suggestions and things that we can do or not do to try to make this program even better for our volunteers and our girls. So I guess let's start with like troop training and materials distribution. Does anybody have any feedback on that? You can type it in the chat, you can unmute. This would be the stuff that comes to you in August, the order cards, envelopes, training that we do a troop training right before the program starts. Do you like that we do a troop training? Should we continue to do a troop training? Has that been helpful? And again, feel free, you can unmute yourselves if it's easier, if you just want to say something versus typing it in. Yes, training is helpful. Okay, awesome. This was the second year we did a troop training, and Todd from, nope, Doug from M2 was on, and he does live demos, which is really great. I think it's helpful for folks to see the site. Okay.
I thought that the training was helpful, especially when it was focused on things that were changed from the year before, and highlighting that. It was really good. So,
okay, awesome. Yeah, because you know, M2, we, you know, they get feedback from all the councils, so they definitely like to hear that and see what they can do to change things in the system to make it better. So this was our year 2 with that, so it was nice that they kind of focused on that for us, since we're all still pretty new of that. So yeah, Doug, if you hear that, maybe we'll keep that in mind next year. If there's any major M2 changes, we can focus on some changes. Yes, if you have any extra materials, you can absolutely recycle them. You know, I know it's so we do, we got a comment that the changing the quantity. So we we do a lot less than the number of girls registered, because around the time that the program starts, we have around 8,000 girls registered. We order a lot less than that, because we know we have such a small participation, but at the same time, we want service units to have materials for those. Like, we want you to give it out to troops and say, you know, check everything out and look it over. I know there's a lot of envelopes and things along that nature. So that's definitely something, like with cookies, the past few years, we've done a little bit more with reducing the paper load. So that's definitely something Gail and I and Angela, and we can all kind of look at and touch base and see how we can maybe reduce our carbon footprint for next year. Because, you know, we do, like, we went to the electronic permission slips, you know, so we're trying, but at the same time, like order cards, we want to make sure we have the order cards for the girls who want to participate. So it's a really hard line to follow. One year, a few years back, we really reduced it. And we probably had like 30 service units reach out and we're like, we need more, like the troops want it. So we never know who's going to participate, but if we, you know, only order 3,000 items, then when you have training, you know, there's going to be troops who are like, well, wait a minute, I want to look it over, or I want to give it out. Maybe they want to do it. So we're definitely going to look about seeing what we could continue to kind of reduce and go more electronic for next year. Let's see, I see some other comments. Electronic permission slips were great. Jot forms, yeah, we're really excited about that. It's working out really well. So, and Jot forms is really nice and easy. Missed the one big goal poster. I remember that. Yeah, it was a really nice big goal poster. It used to be like in part of the order card. Yeah, we can see what we can kind of do. So maybe we can send out a Google form to fall product managers prior to rollout to get a feel. Yeah, you know, we could try. It's summertime. People don't usually respond to us in the summer, but we can definitely brainstorm and see what we can do to kind of, you know, reduce our footprint. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So I think that's our biggest thing for next year, is seeing what we can do about materials and trying to be a little bit more friendly. Okay. So M2 system, again, this is our second year with M2. I think it's an awesome system. Again, Doug from M2 is on. So now is your time. If you have any questions, feedback, anything that you think I know last year we had a lot of feedback about changing reports that they took into consideration. Now's your chance. And I just see, can we have a care to share flyer? Yes, we can do a care to share flyer for next year. I know we do one for cookies. And again, we save this chat, so when Gail and I start to plan, we'll look back at this. Julie raised her hand. So Julie, yeah, if you want to unmute, go right ahead.
I just wanted to share that troop leader expressed some concern about the number of automatic emails that the M2 system was sending. Apparently, when I guess it sends an automatic email when to remind people to help the person who had already purchased meet their goal. Meet the girl's goals, so it felt a little bit intrusive. So I wasn't sure if those could be if you could opt into which emails that could be sent, or if those could be optional. I'm not sure if it already is, and we missed it. So thank you.
And I see somebody saying I got a lot of feedback about the frequency of emails sent through M2. Even if people purchase through the link, it would keep sending them emails and reminders to buy more. So, yes. Okay, no, I think this is, you know, great feedback for Doug, you know, who to take back, because he does work with M2 and they kind of do their planning. Maybe there's a way that they can reduce the frequency or, really have a talk. I do know that they do a lot of research into it, and quantify a lot of things, but great feedback for him to have. I also got reminders for purchasing from my troop girls.
Would you like feedback on that?
Hi, Doug. Yes.
There. Hi, everybody. So we always get comments every single year about the frequency. Not everybody loves getting reminder emails. The system, what Julie said there was the system is set up so that a reminder will only go to a potential customer that has yet not purchased for that category. So if they've purchased both magazines and an item of the nut and chocolate side, they should not get any reminders. However, it's set up where if they purchased a magazine, but they never made a purchase from the nut and chocolate side, they would get a reminder that, hey, listen, if you've already made a purchase, great, but there's still an opportunity to even buy, from the nut and chocolate side type of concept. So if people were getting emails after making their purchases, that's a concerning thing. So please, anything you can send my way or send over to Rebecca to send my way so that we can research what happened, why people were getting emails after they made a purchase for a specific category. We need to fix that because that would be a glitch in the system. We don't want that.
Yeah.
The frequency of the emails.
I don't think that it was that we were getting an email about the specific category that they purchased. Just the general idea that, like, if a girl reaches out to a family member to support her, to help her reach her goal, and that person chooses to buy magazine and not nuts, they don't want that person to receive another email saying, can you please support me, because they already did, regardless of which category that they chose to support them in. It felt very intrusive and a little too salesy for a Girl Scout. So.
And I think maybe what happened this year, and I'm not sure because this is about my 20th review meeting, but the first one with volunteers. So it's the first time I've had this one this season. This year, M2 made a decision to, in the links that were provided, to send out one link where then the customer clicks on that and a window opens up and they have the two stores available on their screen. In the past, it was putting two links in the email. So it had the nut and chocolate link and then the magazine link. So maybe what's happened is in the past, if they bought a magazine, only the link for the nut and chocolate would show up in the reminder emails and vice versa.
Yeah.
But the fact that maybe now that there's only one link, it's coming across as, wait, we already supported them.
Yeah.
Why are you sending a
I
very
was just thinking that, Doug, exactly. Like if customers, like, people don't read emails, so they're thinking, wait, I already bought something. Why am I getting more emails? So they're not maybe taking the time to say, like, thank you for purchasing nuts. Would you like to look at magazine? You know what I'm saying? So that could be part of it too. But, I definitely hear the feedback of overall it being just, somebody even typed in just too many email reminders. So maybe that's some feedback, Doug, that you bring back to M2 when you sit with your teams and hear what the other reps got as well, and maybe they can look at the frequency, or giving the option for troops or parents to change that frequency in the system, to stop. Because I think what we don't want customers opting out. So, if you start getting those types of emails, then they might like unsubscribe or things like that. And we probably don't want that.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you for that feedback.
Any other feedback on the M2 system? Anything you've heard back from your troops? Overall, I think it's a great system, very user-friendly. I like the changes that were made to the reporting functions this year. Were very helpful. So that's a lot of good changes that happened from last year. I think we got a comment. I think a please support me and I'm halfway through my sale and thank you for supporting would be enough email. So kind of like a 3 spaced out type of thing. Thanks, Lex. Okay. Product delivery. So these are the deliveries that came to the service unit the week of November 15th. I know last year was a little chaotic with the bins and unloading the bins, so we got rid of those. We got rid of that this year. I know we got some feedback that there were some full cases that were missing a tin, and Gail has handled all of those and spoken with Todd, our Ashton Farms vendor, and he's put in to get any of that type of stuff sent out to you. Any feedback on your product deliveries for that week that come that we can hear, that we can always look to when we work with the company Secure next year to schedule those? Melissa, I see you raise your hand. You can go ahead and unmute.
There we go. Okay. I just wanted to throw this little tidbit out there. Usually when we get deliveries, Secure comes from Tuckerton and I'm in Galloway. So I'm usually first of the day, which has never been a problem. This year, my delivery was on Thursday. I was the last one. Not a problem whatsoever. I should also share this. It was my daughter's 16th birthday. I waited from 1 to 4 for the truck to come. And I received a call from Secure at about 10 of 4 saying that they were still 5 stops ahead of me, which is fine. Don't have a problem with that. The truck finally came maybe just before 6 o'clock that night, and we were supposed to have dinner for her birthday. The drivers proceeded to tell me that they got stood up by the first few delivery stops. People weren't there. They weren't prepared to get their deliveries. So if we're going to do it where we assign times to service units, can the service units at least, be there for those deliveries so the people that are at the end don't have to be sitting around for 2 hours past their delivery time?
Yeah, no, I totally understand. And I'm so sorry that happened, especially on a day that, you're celebrating with your daughter on a milestone birthday. I know this year when I saw the schedule, some areas had like a 2-hour window, some had a 4-hour window. And they don't really give like 30-minute calling out times because the drivers have personal phones. So they kind of said, if anybody needs a notice, let me know. But yeah, I think, another comment was kind of like, can we get more like the delivery scheduled sooner? So we certainly can try, Secure wants the dates as early as possible. The problem is getting the dates from service units. So we have 54 service units that we need to give us their top 3 choices and, make sure that they can be there. So as soon as we get them, and, Gail and I followed up with a whole lot of people many times, we send that off to Secure so they can kind of work it out as well. We can definitely up that timetable for next year. And kind of see about getting that to Secure earlier, because as soon as they get it from us, they're ready to go. They're ready to schedule it. And then that way we kind of get that scheduled much earlier. I think you guys all got your confirmations by the end of October. It's still about 2 weeks out, but everybody's busy with work and life. So I'm sure sooner the better is always helpful.
Yeah, the drivers were awesome, and so was the Secure company, because they called me, they apologized profusely. It's just, it was nothing to do with the drivers or Secure. They're awesome. It's just that the first service units of the day weren't there for their delivery, and it backed them up hours because they had to go back. And they can't
just, I know we said with COVID, they said if people really aren't going to be there, they can leave it, but that's not how we want it to be, because we want to make sure somebody's there accounting for everything. We don't want them to just leave food products outside. So, that's definitely something that we've asked them not to do. So this year you could have put in preferred dates and times. We sent out emails to, you had to just put it in the M2 system. Previously, we did it on a Google Doc. Do you think it was easier for you to do that on the Google Doc versus the M2? Because I have to say, and Gail handled this with me, out of the 54 service units, probably only like 10 of them put in a preferred date and time. So I don't know if it was miscommunication or they just didn't, you know, if the service unit net managers just didn't see the email and then we're like, oh, I just put it in. So we can go back to that like Google Doc again, where it's kind of like similar to the cookie one where we say, you know, put in your top 3 dates, your top 3 times, and then go from that. And then Gail and I can put it in the system. Just never saw the email. Yeah, and I mean, I know it's tough. It's the beginning of the school year. Everybody's getting lots of emails and things like that. I also saw a couple people said it's not convenient days and times. So what part of it's not convenient? Because you have the whole week and you have to give us top 3 days of the whole week from Monday through Friday. Is like just Monday through Friday during the day not convenient? Because I don't think we can change that, unfortunately, because they have to deliver to 54 places. Or is it just having it better, more ways to communicate your convenient days and times? I'm just looking at the chat. So if one of us isn't there at delivery, Secure should just move on to the next one rather than wait. Shannon, I agree. It could have been too that they've called people. I know Secure, they create like, it's like a logistics. They create these like schedules and mapping with, you know, mileage and things like that. So, you know, they could have just been instructed by the people, but no, I absolutely agree. And I think for Todd from Ashton is on. I think this is something, Todd, we can also talk with Secure about. If there's something like a major holdup like that, then we can, you know, work with Secure to just say, contact us, let's see what the problem is, and then we can move on so that it doesn't affect the rest of the delivery schedule. You know, they probably were just told like, no, we don't want you to mess with the schedule type thing and the mileage. I don't know how they do the logistics, but that's definitely something when we meet with Secure, we can try to work on. If they're in a position where those service units just aren't there, they're not answering, or if they're saying, oh, hey, I'm not going to be here for 2 hours, like we can work a plan out. We can problem solve.
I think that's a good idea. That could help with the communication and notifying a little bit in advance for the volunteer to be ready for their for their shipment to come. I don't want to overcomplicate things, but I know in some cases a phone chain can help with situations like that. I don't know if that's something, how everyone feels about that, but set it up so that you would be responsible to call the next stop after yours is complete. So it's a little bit of a heads up that they're on their way to the next stop.
Yeah.
Be ready.
Yeah. And I think, you know, that's something too, we can talk with Secure about, is just saying, you know, especially if they're going to continue with larger windows, is that, you know, people need a heads up. They need like, kind of like when you're getting deliveries, furniture delivered, you kind of get that 30-minute heads up coming. Because if you're told, oh, it's from 1 to 4, well, that's, you know, a few people said I have to go pick up kids, and we tried to problem solve then, and we worked it all out. But I think what we can do is, we know the week is set. We can send you guys a Google form like we've done in previous years to, you know, maybe that'll stand out a little bit more, so we can get your top 3 dates and times. That way you're, you know, maybe you missed the email, or, you know, like you said, it wasn't really clear on M2. We just kind of instructed you to put it in the notes section. So, you know, we can kind of go back to that Google form earlier on in October so that you can kind of pick. We can get that to Secure earlier, have them get their schedule, and then get it back to you so you can get it on your schedule, you know, sooner, you know, in more time than just 2 weeks. I'm glad to hear that the deliveries went really well this year. I know, again, last year it was a little bit of a nightmare with those loose items, so I'm glad that we fixed that. What is the latest time block? I want to say it's probably until 4, Stephanie, again, because where they come from and where they have to go. But, you know, again, if it's something where, you know, it's just really impossible if nobody in the service unit, you know, can get it delivered, you know, during the day at that time, like, you know, that week, like I said, we'll start this process earlier, but, you know, if it's just really like, you know, we just can't, I don't want to take a day off of work. That's too much. Nobody else can do it. You know, you can always reach out to Gail or myself. We can try to troubleshoot. They can deliver it to us. You can come to council, that type of thing. But the only problem is when that happens, it comes to council at the end. So it's just delaying when you get it to your troops. So, but you know, we'll kind of look at it next year. We'll see what we can kind of do. And make it work. But yes, it doesn't have to be the fall product program manager. If you can, there's a different person in the service unit has collected them, you just want to make sure that person is an adult and that they can count the items and make sure they match the items that Secure has on their delivery tickets. And then you also can print your delivery ticket to confirm as well. So it doesn't have to just be the nut manager. We've had them go to different places before. Okay. Any suggestions for next year about the program? Feedback from the troops? Anything that you want to talk to us? Let us know. Again, Gail and I will start to, in the spring, we look at the rewards lineup, the timing. Again, now Gail and myself we're not the end all on the dates of the sale. That is something that is approved at the executive team. So any feedback on that obviously goes up through the chains. That's not something that I decide. But any feedback that you want to have for next year's program? I mean, I see a spouse could be there, you know, if you can't get off of work and we don't want you to take a whole day off, that's fine. As long as it's an adult and you say, listen, and Secure knows to have you count those items as well, to say, this is the ticket, you're supposed to get these 50 items. You're here that day. I need to make sure, similar to when they get cookies, you know, sometimes spouses go get cookies for you. I need you to verify that you got all of these items and sign for it. So as long as it's an adult, you know, if it's somebody you trust to do that, that's totally fine. Again, just making sure that they're there and counting. The troops thought it was so close to the start of the year with meetings just starting, especially new troops. So troops leaders were overwhelmed. Yeah, it's you know, Jessica, that's kind of one of the reasons the participation is a little bit lower. You know, we have our cookie program that runs January through March, and we try to space out the fall program to end and give time in between the sales. You know, if we start it later, you know, again, we're waiting on rewards right now, which isn't that big of a deal. But if we start it later, then instead of, if we start it later, it ends later. So then instead of products being delivered around November 15th, they're delivered after Thanksgiving, you know, in December, like then you're pushing it kind of into that holiday time. We know a lot of leaders don't meet during that time. So, you know, we've definitely always have looked at the sale timing, but that's something we've never wanted to push, because we thought to really push it into December is tough. And, you know, and yes, May had said part of the promotion of the products is people get them as gifts and, you know, teacher gifts and things like that. So they kind of get them by Thanksgiving. You know, once we kind of shift that, which we get, then it shifts everything. You know, that's why we tested out like the online extension, which was just online only. So it was giving troops extra time to still participate if they wanted to start later. They just, you know, wouldn't get those physical products in November 15th. They would, you know, just have the online stuff. Let's see. So they were upset, girls, that the rewards changed for the stuffed animal from 24 to 35. Okay.
I also had a parent, a couple of parents and a leader tell me that the shipping cost for the direct ship was really cost prohibitive. And I know that this comes up, but if there's anything that could be done to subsidize it next year, because it stopped a lot of people from making purchases. So
Yeah. Yeah, shipping with the, because it's a food product, you know, it is higher. It's always a conversation we have with Ashton Farms. It's a conversation that they have with their vendors. You know, it's definitely something we can bring back again to our executive team, to look at some type of subsidized shipping option, to see what we could do again. Let's see.
I got feedback from one of the leaders asking if there was any way. We did get a lot of that. The people weren't making online purchases or only buying 1 or 2 items when they would have bought like 10 or 12 because the shipping was like $97. But with cookies and stuff, there's that incentive for shipping. If you buy more, the shipping is actually less. So people wanted to know if there was an incentive like that for the fall product, or offer more things in person that could be girl delivered, because you kind of get it from both ends where there's not a lot. I mean, there's 15 items that you can order in person, but there's a ton that aren't. And then you end up having to pay all this extra shipping just to try new items or to get it those last 2 weeks. And then people just say, no, I can go to the store and buy something like that. And I'd rather just give them the $20 in shipping instead of paying.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, this is something that we can, you know, again, we bring this feedback, these suggestions back to the executive level, at our council. So, you know, that's definitely something we can continue to talk about. You know, maybe some type of higher end subsidized shipping. I'm seeing some feedback to more of the new items on the nut card. I think we are restricted at keeping the nut card at 16 or 17 items. Todd would have to confirm that for me because it's a standard, like a GSUSA thing, but that kind of, you know, people always say, well, why can't we have everything? So,
Right.
you know, it's really hard to have 35 items delivered through Secure. So just imagine how kind of crazy the deliveries would be. So that's why we're kind of limited to a split. But I don't know, Todd, are we restricted to that 16 or 17 items?
Yes, and it's more around, just like you said, Rebecca, with just the manageability of the number of items with respect to delivery out to the troops and by the delivery agent to actually handle those, you know, in person. So, you know, that's really it. But it's, you know, it's a good suggestion. And as you know, we always look at the old favorites versus the new ones and trying to pick the right match of or mix of which ones should be on the order card and then be available for online girl delivered too. So we definitely continue to look at that. One thing I'd point out about the shipping, and it's just a kind of a communication thing, I believe, because as soon as you make a selection of a chocolate item, the shipping cost defaults to the expedited rate. There is a way to make the decision and to switch it back within the shopping cart to the standard shipping, which is more reasonable, obviously, than expedited or express. So that's something that perhaps we can do in the explanation within the online store also, because you see really high shipping when we're talking about shipping out chocolate items overnight or express shipped.
Yeah, and I think the reason it kind of goes to that is, you know, compared to the rest of the country that's also selling at this time, many of those other areas are in much warmer climates than us. So they don't want to run the risk of somebody ordering chocolate items that then get melted. You know, fortunately for us, we tend to have a little bit more mild or cooler weather where we can kind of take that chance and have it done normally. So, you know, have the standard shipping, but I could see where that could, like, that sticker shock could kind of confuse people. Maybe that's something else too that can be talked about on the M2 site, a really maybe like a pop-up or something when that happens, saying, you know, shipping notice, you ordered chocolate, we recommend this shipping, however, you can go to the standard, like maybe something that jumps out at them so they know, you know, that's the expedited shipping. They can change it if they want, you know. Or somebody who's in Texas might want it, you know, expedited because it's 100 degrees,
Right.
but at least maybe something in the system can jump out and say, you know, or let them choose, not it automatically calculate to the expedited shipping.
Rebecca,
Yes.
I went for the
Let's go QQQ Legacy Classic.
shipping. The girls got their stuff. The girl delivered. They got their stuff before I got mine in the mail. I didn't pay for the extra speed shipping, but I got a email saying it was coming one day and it didn't come. And then I didn't get my delivery until like a few weeks after the girls got their delivery.
Oh, so that's weird because normally the shipping happens, it's still pretty quick, but you know, I think somebody did post, you know, shipping in general is high right now because of the lack of resources due to COVID. Yeah, you know, we're still in kind of that post-COVID shipping nightmare world. You know, I still see a lot of things where, you know, things usually once through the better levels, UPS, FedEx, it's a little bit better than the postal service, but things get bumped around a lot. And sometimes, again, with food, that's why it is better to do the expedited because it's a little bit, you know, more, you pay the more money and it kind of gets there a lot faster than the normal. But yeah,
But they weren't even guaranteeing that. They
yeah,
was trying to pay extra money to get it in less days, but they weren't guaranteeing that it was gonna come in even the 2 days that they said.
yeah. I mean, you know, whenever you have an issue like that, Annie, just definitely reach out to us because then we can, you know, revert it to the customer care team at M2. They can look into the order and, you know, track it and see what's going on and why it's taking so long because maybe something weird is happening.
I called them direct.
Okay.
All right, and I told him that I had gotten the email saying it was gonna be there one day and it didn't come. So I called him direct and he said it hasn't been shipped out yet. So, but yet still I'm getting an email saying it's gonna come this
It's
day
coming.
between these hours. And then, like I said, it came so much further than what last year was fine. It was deeper in COVID last year, but
Yeah.
it was fine last year.
Yeah. That's weird.
Annie,
Okay.
I apologize about that because there was a stretch during the middle of the campaign when there was, due to high volume and some other shipping delays, where it was taking longer than the normal 5 to 7 days to get an order out that was purchased on the Girl Scout store. And you're right, there was a statement about FedEx that even if someone purchased Express, they weren't guaranteeing like they normally would it getting there within the 1 day or 2 days. So we were guaranteeing the chocolate that would that if it did happen to get melted or damaged or whatever, but FedEx had gone as far as to not basically refund the shipping cost if it wasn't getting to customers when they would expect it, having paid for expedited.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely still really wonky things happening with, you know, shipping currently we're dealing with, and, you know, I hope it gets better sooner rather than later, but, you know, we can definitely, you know, look at some subsidized shipping options and bring that to the higher level executive team, and talk it over with, you know, Todd and, and Doug, when we do our planning, you know, we can kind of look at doing more of an assortment on our nut card, getting some of those newer items that are, you know, that are highlighted for people, you know, and having it available for girl delivery. You know, this is stuff we always like analyze every year, but you know, I know this year we only picked one item out of the 4 new ones. So, you know,
Can
we
I
can,
just jump in real quick?
yeah, is
You
that
have a
Ange?
chance.
Hi, Ange.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to let you know that typically every year we do have discussions about the shipping costs, about what to put on the order card. What we look at is what are the things that are really most popular. Not only do we look at what's most popular for what the girls sell, because typically the things that are on the lowest end of the totem pole, we switch out for something else. From there, we look at, well, how are these items selling in other parts of our regions? So, you know, Ashton Farm has information about what are top selling items in the, you know, in the West, the Northeast, you know, Southeast, like different things like that. So we do look at a lot of analytical things. But in addition to that, when it comes to the shipping costs, what we look at is the volume. So the reason why the subsidies work and make sense for cookies across the board, no questions asked, is the volume that is shipped. That's where kind of the balance and the struggle is with the fall sale. We don't come close to anything when it comes to the volume in order to make it make sense kind of financially. Like we have discussions of whether, you know, there's something that could be done, not only on the company side, but on our side. And then what does that look like for us in terms of, you know, the investment into that? So that's kind of, like I said, you know, all of the things that we look at, you know, across the board. You know, of course, we want people to sell more, but we also know that in terms of the participation in the fall sale versus the cookie sale, it may be somewhere around 20% of girls selling. If last year we had, how many girls selling in cookies, Rebecca?
6,900.
So almost 7,000 girls. And this year for fall sale,
1,900.
1,900. And on an average year, the cookie sale is
It's close to 10,000.
10,000.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of the struggle. So, you know, my comment is really just to be completely transparent with you to say that we know shipping is an issue. Every year we kind of look at it as, okay, is there anything we could do? What would be the cost? What would it mean? How could this work? And, you know, we just haven't figured it all out in terms of the shipping costs for the sale.
Yeah,
So
and
look at
again,
it every
you know,
year. So
we can
you know,
definitely,
sorry.
yeah, like look to add more new items. But like Angela kind of said, we look at like regionally what's really popular. So if Ashton comes out with 4 new items, that means we need to take 4 items off our order card. So
Right.
we'll look at the lowest items, you know, like the buttered nuts. Somebody said, oh, I missed the buttered peanuts, which I love those too. That was the lowest item. That was number 16 that placed. So
Right.
to us, it's like, okay, we're going to take that one off. Because it not only is it low on the order card, it's low on online as well, and we'll put a new one on. So that's then it kinds that fine balance. Well, if we want to put 4 new items on, which 4 ones are we going to take off?
And we want to do the ones that are most that the girls would have a better chance of selling.
Yeah.
You know, so it, you know, it's hard and we understand. But you know, every year we do try to figure out something. And something that could be supported, you know, not only on a council level, but on a vendor level, you know, and a GSUSA level also.
Yeah, definitely. And it's that fine balance that we have to find. But, you know, and again, you know, and, you know, people say, oh, yeah, we want girls to sell more. We want girls to participate. But at the same time, you know, our council, our executive team, our board does realize that this is, you know, we do look at this as a friends and family sale. You know, we don't have the same expectations that we have for cookies. I want more girls to participate because it's a really cool program. The system's awesome. They get to, you know, really do some fun things online and have a chance to earn rewards and have yummy items. But at the same time, you know, we're not doing booths and we're not saying, you know, okay, go door to door and all this stuff unless you want to go to your friends and your neighbors, because it is a quick sale, you know, so it's not on that same comparison to cookies. But no, yep, we can definitely look at what new items Ashton will have for us next spring. You know, they also look at their sales to see out of the new items, something that was really, really big. Somebody had mentioned the caramel apples. Todd could come back in the spring and be like, these caramel apples were selling like hotcakes. And to us, that's like a great sign. He'll tell us in the region, the New York, New Jersey, PA, East Coast region, you know, and to us, it's like, okay, that's like a no-brainer. Let's get that new, you know, let's get that one on our order card. People really liked it. So, you know, we definitely look at all of that stuff and then we'll see what Ashton has. Somebody did put in a really good idea about doing like a sampler pack. So I don't know if that's something Ashton has ever looked at, like maybe like a sampler pack of smaller, you know, new items, or where you can get like 3 items, you know, into one.
Like that. Good idea.
That's a really good idea. Yeah. I don't know if that's something that could be on the nut card again, because then you're looking at like, how do we, you know, deliver that? But I still think that's an awesome idea because people want to try something. They might not want the full size. They don't know if they're going to like it. You know, so, but you know, we appreciate all these suggestions. We appreciate this feedback. You know, these are the things that we bring to the planning meetings in the spring, and we try to take all of this into consideration. So there was a 3-pack a few years ago. Yeah, maybe a sampler flat rate package might be a good idea for direct ship to keep shipping costs down. Yeah, you know, hopefully we'll be out of this crazy shipping bubble soon after the holidays. Hopefully they'll get caught up and, you know, things will be better, because it's bad across the board. You know, so we're in weird times right now, and all we can do is hope for the best. But any other last minute suggestions or feedback? You know, if you have something that comes to us, again, feel free. You can email Gail or myself. We won't start our planning until the springtime. You know, so if you go back in January and you meet with your leaders meeting and just say, you know, I'll send out these slides as well, and just say, anybody have any feedback, please send it to Gail or myself. Are we doing a vote for mascots for next year? Do you know anything about the mascot? I feel like I saw something. I don't think it's voting, but I don't remember. Doug or Todd? Do we know what it is? Are we allowed to say, or is there a voting tool happening?
We we do know what it is.
But we can't say.
We are now. You know what? I do not believe I'm at liberty to disclose that yet.
Yeah. So, well, hopefully, you know, usually these types of things do come down as like nice big announcements. So hopefully the springtime, you know, we'll get to see what the mascot is. You know, rally flyers earlier. Absolutely. That's something Gail and I will note down, get you, you know, M2 does really nice rally activities booklets for us. So we can definitely work to get you those earlier, and as soon as we get them from them in the summer. So that's a great idea. But yeah, so, you know, hopefully springtime you'll hear what the mascot is, and we'll get you stuff going. But yeah, so that's all that we have. Again, if you have, any issues that pop up, you can contact customer care, create a case, anything specific, somebody hasn't gotten an order, we'll connect you to M2 customer care because they are a great job. They have a great site that can track these things, and they have access to that. So we'll make sure if you hear from any customers, let us know. And thank you all for all of your hard work. Any feedback that pops up in the next month or two, shoot Gail or I an email. As soon as we have more updates on the rewards, we will send you a message out and let you know. And hopefully we can get them to you before Christmas. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for it, but if you've seen the news, you know that the shipping at the ports is kind of a mess right now, and we're just holding out on a couple items. So hopefully we'll get it sooner rather than later. But if we don't talk to you, have a great holiday. Thank you all so much, and have a great night. And we appreciate all that you've done.